Welcome to the Because You Asked podcast. Get ready for a trip through the infinite consciousness as we stretch your understanding of yourself, your world, and life as we know it. Strap in, light up, and get ready to have your mind blown. Namaste, bitches.
All right, well, welcome back to the Because You Asked podcast. Podcast I do because you fucking asked me to. We're going to have a conversation today with Jessica, and I'm going to start by allowing you, if you're comfortable enough, to give us kind of some backstory, some history.
So just like about myself.
Yeah, just, where you are, like, spiritually, where you started, where you are now, just the story.
Okay. So my parents in general, like as far as how I was raised, my parents were crazy. So they weren't religious at all. They just lived life like to the fullest. They were married at 15 and 16, my dad being the older one. And I have three older brothers, and I was kind of like a miracle child. That's what they always called me. I was daddy's princess and mama's angel. Like those were my nicknames. And because they always wanted a girl and they kept trying, and my mom had several miscarriages too. So I would have had a lot more siblings. But after she had my youngest brother, which he's 5 years older than me, the doctors told her she couldn't have any more children. And 5 years later, here I came. So my mom didn't know that she was pregnant with me till she was about 6 months pregnant. But it was all just and I'm only telling you this because I feel like it shapes a lot of my ego.
Yeah.
Like I was put in like this pedestal when my dad was alive as like the greatest gift on earth. And um my mom ended up having me, and they were heavy partiers, did cocaine, and yeah, they
The
were
good stuff.
partiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad did some dealing and stuff too. Like there was always stuff in the house. Well, shortly after I was born, it just like sparked something in my dad, and he wanted to be a better dad. He wanted to
Yeah.
be a better influence. Like it was just something about getting granted that gift that he didn't think he was going to have a daughter, and then he had a daughter,
Mhm.
just changed something for him. But him and my mom were very abusive to each other, like threw hands. And my mom was one of those crazy ones that would like scream in his face saying, "Hit me." The
Yeah.
typical white trash family.
My mom has red hair and was a stripper. So yeah, dude, I know all about this.
So that's just a little backstory on the parents. Now, my dad died when I was 9. So he was 38 years old. He was pretty young. And he died in a snowmobile accident. And he always said, "I want to die either going fast or having sex." Like those are the two things he wanted to do. So he actually died going fast. So he was like a bit of an adrenaline junkie, but he was never really much on the spiritual side. And my great grandfather was a preacher, Pentecostal preacher. And so my grandmother, his mom, was like the rebellious child. She was like, you can take that Bible and shove it up your ass, because she she was beat with the Bible, and
Yeah.
they were like those kind of religious. And so my dad never really wanted anything to do with it, I think because of the influence of his parents. But my dad's brother that ended up raising me after my dad died, he was very religious. I mean, don't get me wrong, his younger years, he was a partier too, but he was very religious and he was Christian. So when my dad died, they, I lived with my mom until I was 11, which would have been 2 years. My mom, after my dad died, she fell straight into like alcohol, and then that turned into crack. And then all of a sudden, everything my dad worked for, we had we had a house, we had a boat, we had a camper, we had like 7 vehicles, we had four-wheelers, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, because my dad was a diesel mechanic, and because he was a mechanic, he had access to like being able to fix stuff and have it cheap. So we had a lot of shit, but literally everything got signed over to drug dealers. And we ended up living in this town called Westland, Michigan. And it's like the The word ghetto I know is like misused, but it's
Nah,
when you picture a ghetto, like that's where it
nah.
is. And we lived in these old like shacks that were like or army shacks or something from back in the day. I forget the story about it, but
You like the
we
flat roof ones?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
like block. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah, so my dad had a Social Security check, and when he passed, my mom got a Social Security check for me and my youngest brother for the longest time. And then she got a Social Security check for taking care of us. And that's how she survived because she never worked when my dad was alive unless she
Right.
worked for him. Like he was
Right.
a truck driver at some point and she was a dispatcher and stuff like that. So my mom ended up having this like I don't know if it was well, I'm sure it was drugs, but this like psychotic break one night. And she was like I was 11 years old and she was like, I don't know, she's just like throwing shit across the house and she's accusing me of sleeping with like the drug dealer guy that she was with. And like, she's just like calling me awful things. And, um, then my brothers, which they were all on something too, they were all in gangs and, just like nothing good. And then my brothers like seen how my mom was acting and they called my aunt and uncle to come get me. And so my mom's like hiding under the trampoline in the backyard. This is like bits of my memory. And she has a knife and she's like threatening to kill herself if I leave and stuff. And my brother's like, it's okay, just come on, I'll take care of her. And so he walks me like 2 blocks over where my aunt and uncle picked me up. And I thought I was just going there until my mom got her shit straightened out. And then when they brought me back home, my mom was like, I'm not able to take care of her. Do you guys think you can take care of her for me? So I ended up living with them and it was like a big culture shock for me. It
Mhm.
was like a completely different life. Like
Yeah.
I went from basically taking care of myself to moving in with these people that now wanted to treat me like I was a 4-year-old. And it was like, okay, what's this? And then my brothers ended up moving in with them shortly after, even though the one brother was only like a couple years away from being an adult and the rest were
Mhm.
adult. And like they said that the only way they could stay with them is if they went to church. So they all went to church. All of us got saved. All of us got baptized. I don't really think that at the time we knew anything other than this was going to make our uncle proud. You know what I mean? Like our dad died and we're like, okay, he expects this of us and this is going to make him proud. So we all did that. And sorry, I shut the heater off because I was hot and now I'm freezing. So but is a big of my Christian experience was wrapped into I went through trauma and then I felt rescued and I
Mhm.
felt like I owed this dedication. Like my
Right.
life needed to be dedicated to God because he saved me from this terrible situation. And I grew up in the church from there. Like we bounced around from like Pentecostal to Baptist to we moved a lot. Like I went to 13 different schools.
Mm.
My aunt and uncle, so they had 3 kids of their own, and I was the oldest out of them. So it was like I was the youngest growing up with my brothers, and then I got thrown into the position of being the oldest, moving
Mhm.
in with them. And I ended up living the rest of my childhood with them. Like my mom never got her shit together and she would be like, come over for visits or I could go visit with her. Wasn't never allowed to stay the night with her and stuff, but we didn't have much of a solid relationship. And she ended up passing in 2018 and I was already an adult at the time, but she actually did overdose, which I never got told that, honestly. I just know that that's what
Mhm.
happened because my brothers tried to say that she aspirated in her sleep. And then my other brother was like, no, they were definitely doing heroin. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
I just don't understand. I don't understand the addiction part of it, but I don't know. Ever since, like, I guess because drugs ruined my childhood, it was like I never had that desire. And now I do partake in marijuana as an adult. I use it as well a lot more recently. I haven't really had money for it, so it's it's been like going without it. But when I did use it, it was like just to quiet my mind,
Yeah.
just
Yep.
I didn't like use it as a everyday crutch or anything like that. It was just like when I needed to quiet my mind. But so I don't understand the addiction part of their experience. And I think I judged them a lot for that for a long time. And a lot of that
Ad-
had to do with the brainwashing.
yeah. Addiction is because someone just can't find happiness in their life. Like with drugs, my dad died of heroin. My sister's dad died from heroin. My brother's dad died from heroin. We all had different dads, all of them dead from heroin. And
Wow.
it just takes them to a place where they can actually be happy. They get so lost in the sauce that they literally can't be happy, and you can't convince them. Because after you get into it, it's not even so much the addiction alone as it's definitely a big factor that they've already fucked their life up. So like all the people that love them have left, and they get to a point of no return, and it's unfortunate. I know all of our dads died from fentanyl, technically, because heroin, it's hard to die from heroin. It's not hard to die from heroin with fentanyl in it. I actually, after my dad passed, I had a guy overdose on a job site, and I went in there and saved his life somehow, so they say. But it's wild. It's unfortunate how awful that is, because it's just rampant. Everybody has a story.
Hmm.
Yeah. But so where would you say you're at with your beliefs around religion now?
So I don't really identify with religion at all. I'm kind of like, I call myself a truth seeker. Like, I think my perception of God changes every single day. And I'm at the point to where I'm okay with that. Like, I realize it has to be a process because there would be like a complete shock to my nervous system if it didn't come in layers, if it didn't come
Yeah.
in
Got to
phases.
build a bridge. Yeah, you got to build a bridge from here to there. A lot of people are trying to go way too fast. They're going to fuck around and get to speed wobbles. Yeah, and you don't want none of that. But I think personally, I never believed in the Bible. I went to church when I was a kid, and I didn't stay like into my teens at all. So I never bought in. But the Bible is definitely what tipped me off. Mine was from straight drugs. Mine was from drugs. I was doing drugs. I was doing mushrooms a lot. And God wasn't involved, but there was this like a spiritual version of God, I guess. But one night I had the story of Jesus come to mind because I was like, whoa, the world's about to end, dude. This place is fucked. Like this shit is not going to make it. And the story of Jesus came to mind because I wanted to try to figure out how I can help save the world. As ridiculous as it sounds, I was like, I just always have felt like there's nothing I can't do, all the way to the point where I was like, how can I save the world? And the story of Jesus came to mind. And from that, I actually went to church, and I realized sitting there watching this fucking debacle that like church isn't even about God no more. It's about fucking making you feel good with one or two Bible verses, then give me some of that money. And then we're going to sing a bunch. Like, it's just it's fucking weird. It's one subscription that everyone should think about canceling. It's fucking terrible. But from that, because that Jesus thing came to me, I started thinking like, what if Jesus was like Neo from the Matrix? And then the whole Matrix thing tied in with the flat earth thing. So it was like all of these little things started to pile on. I got to a point where I was like, this is overwhelming to even try to figure out what it is. So I decided I'll start with what I know. I am. That's all that I know. I know that I am. I know that I'm experiencing something. And from that place, you can go in a million different directions. So it kind of helps to just take a bunch of other stuff as well, outside of even Christianity, and boil it down to what's the most common denominator. And the most common denominator is there's some source of intelligence out there and it interacts with you. So then you just focus on your own life and see how it interacts with you. I think that's the best way to go about trying to deepen an understanding is if you keep reading and looking at videos, like the shit just ain't gonna work. It has to happen in life. Mine happened after that whole thing. It happened on mushrooms. And I realized in that moment that at some level I'm God. Not like the character we talk about in the Bible, but there's this thing that's connected, and it's like a giant web, and that web is God. And somehow I'm part of that. Think of it as like all the energy in the universe is just energy. It's all the same Just like the air you're breathing is the same air I'm breathing. Just because it's so far away doesn't make it separate. There's air from here to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There
I
is
had
no,
somebody
there's no
explain it
empty
once.
space.
Like like God is the ocean and we're the waves. Like we're not
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not separate. We show up as an expression of the ocean. So if God exists and God is infinite, then all of the expressions of God must exist. Well, how do you do that? Well, you have to observe them. So God had to observe his creation through first person perspective, and that's what we are. So there's no destined outcome to our life. It's all personal. You look at your life, you build your assumptions based on your experience. And the game is, don't let people outside of you tell you shit. A lot of people don't like that about me, but I don't let nobody say shit to me. All of the things I see in my life, they mean something to me. And if I was to go, hey, what's this angel number? You know what I mean? You go looking to other people to try to explain your experience. That's where people fail. And I think it's the most logical conclusion. You don't know what this is, and nobody can know. Therefore, trust no one but you. And if there's a God or something of that nature, interact with it. Because even if it is, because people get wrapped up on the idea that they're God, it's like, now the energy that allows you to exist is God, but it doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a thing that it likes. It doesn't have any of that shit. No characteristics, just the energy. But from that place, you can, pray to it, or I think trying to manifest is a really good way for people to understand what it is. And manifesting, they talk about it on TikTok like it's a big fucking to-do. It's not really what they say it is. It's a personal communication based on like absolute faith. So I made videos earlier where I said, before you go to sleep at night, think of like, pick a problem in your life now that you want solved, that you don't think you can solve. Okay. Whatever it is. Before you go to sleep, when you lay down, before you like fall asleep, when you're just laying there silently, try to envision yourself once that thing is done. Like that's the best time to try to do any kind of manifesting. Right before you go to sleep. It's literally the sacred silence and sleep. It's the sacred silence right before you go to sleep. It's after your mind has already kind of went away. You envision yourself as the version of you that has the thing's already done. Don't envision getting a thing or observing how it gets solved. Just envision yourself as it was solved and how you would feel if it were solved. And if you keep doing that at night before you go to sleep, you're impressing that into reality. If it comes true, then you know what it is. You know what it is. It has to be something that's interacting with you. You can throw morals at it or whatever you want to do, but I think celebrities are people who just know this and they don't have the morality not to use it. So they just fucking abuse it. It's like a video game in a weird way. And then you can throw whatever name at it or title or feel how you want to feel about it. But I think that's the whole point, is there are no rules. There are no right. There's no wrong. We're here to experience the infinite on God's behalf. And we all walk around like, we're supposed to be like, we're literally here for God and they want us to fear God. And it's like, I don't know. But I think trying to manifest is like a huge thing for people who are just not quite really sure what they would say. And you'll find that it doesn't really matter what you call it. It's fucking
Yeah.
strange. It's very odd, whatever it is. But
And honestly, language is trash because I really don't think we have the words to even describe it, and that's why everybody's trying.
yeah, and it's all the same story too. If you listen to people talk, people will say like a Kundalini awakening. They'll go, well, you got to have a Kundalini awakening, as if it's a fucking menu of some kind, right? You can have all these different spiritual brands of whatever. And they go, we got to align all these points in your body and everything else. That's just a metaphor. None of that's about the body. It's all about your emotional state. And it's all about letting go of the ego and being open to what we would call source. But like that's fucking everything saying that. All of it's saying Christianity says that, even though I think, any big religion that has anything to do with the Catholic Church, most likely, it's just weird that all people who fall under the umbrella of like the Catholic Church somehow fucking hate themselves because their God made them shitty on purpose. I'm like, this is weird. Look around at nature. Does it look like God just makes shit to suffer? Because I don't see any. It's so beautiful out there. The idea that we're the most sophisticated version of what was made and we're supposed to suffer and we're supposed to be judged and all this other shit is so weird to me. Super
Yeah,
strange.
being an adult stepping away from religion and looking back at my child self being in religion and all the questions I asked. And like I was shot down every time. And it's like they can never give you a direct answer. It's always like, oh, God works in mysterious ways, or God is the ultimate judge. And, because the big thing for me was like, so my grandfather molested me. And, it was like I was forced to be back around him once he turned his life over to God and he was saved and he asked for forgiveness. And it was like that right there was like, okay, that made me think about because even after that, he still tried stuff. It
Oh,
was like
bless you.
it didn't change him. So that was a big eye opener for me. Like he can just do it as many times as he wants and keep asking for forgiveness. But then there's a person over here that didn't ever get told about Jesus and they're
Right.
gonna go to hell. Like it didn't make no sense to me. It was just the questions and they're like, well, God is the ultimate judge and you know, I don't
Yeah.
know. It blows my mind that I even believed it now that I'm away from it. And I really believe
Yeah.
that it's like this negative programming that
Yeah.
is in the churches. And it's like they root it so deep by starting it when you're too young to even
Question it.
understand things for
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with religion is people can't think. And I mean, like all people can't think. You get brought up in a society where everybody has the same prompt. Think of it like AI. Right now, AI is not conscious. So AI cannot access anything that's not in its database. Humans are like that. We're born, we're taught this language. We all have basically the same experience. We go to elementary school, then we go to middle school, and everybody's got everybody doing the same shit. Everybody's watching the same TV, listening to the same music. We go to high school, and it's like we're all put in this box, and people can't think outside of it. So when their whole community is religious, their like whole life experience, it's like if tomorrow they said we don't actually breathe air. Everybody's like, what the fuck? Because they've never even considered anything outside of what they've been taught. People just can't think. They don't have the ability to build an original thought because it takes creativity and imagination and vulnerability. They have to admit that they're wrong. So, I mean, it's wild because you can look at people like that and you're just like, boy, they ain't shit behind them eyes. I don't know what is going on with this thing, but this thing is running on full blown fucking what is it? Cruise control. Like they're not driving this fucking thing. This thing is being automated. You know what I mean? It feels that way.
Yeah, they're following someone else's programming. And you can
Yeah.
always tell when somebody isn't speaking their truth and they're just like repeating what
Yeah.
has been taught to them because it's like you said, like it's automated.
Yeah. It
It's like
feels scripted.
just a written response.
It feels scripted, and that's the worst. And I think at this point we're getting really close to something. I feel like in the world some kind of disclosure. And you know what's really fucked up is I actually don't know that there will be. I think there's just a group of people kind of breaking off away from the pack, and I don't know how anybody at this time after COVID and all the bullshit, how anyone's still asleep. I have no idea. And the
Because
religion,
because they don't want to be awake.
yeah,
They're too afraid of being awake.
the religious thing I understand. They're actually leaning into that a lot right now. There's
Yeah.
a lot about religion going on, unfortunately. And, I'm okay with there being religion as long as there isn't another religious war. Like if that happens, I'm not okay with that. Because I don't think anybody is really, with what I believe, nobody's going to hell. So live your life however you want. I think a lot of people want to try to wake people up as if somehow they affect their life. I don't believe that. I don't think that other people affect my life. I think if there were to be a war, if I didn't acknowledge there was going to be a war, like if I literally just was like, I didn't believe it, I think it would hit everywhere around me, but not me. Like, I think that level of like faith in God type stuff. Whereas God to me is, I don't know what it is. It's something though, because shit happens in my life that don't make sense any other way. It just doesn't make sense. The amount of times that I see the same number, and it's always when something happens. It's always like something happened, and I look around, and there's that fucking number. No matter where it is,
Mhm.
it'd be on a screen somewhere at the gas pump or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, there's fucking something going on here. So I just assume if it's winking at me, I take it like it's flirting. I'm like, it must want me, so I guess I'll trust it, and I just let shit go. I paint a completely different future for myself, and I rebuttal. I don't give a fuck. I refuse everything everybody else says, and I think that's okay, because that really is the free will. You just get the life that you think you're going to get, and everybody else gets theirs. And I think it's that. I think on an independent level, we control our own reality. I think we're drifting through realities, and we can bring people, collectively out of realities if everyone changes their mindset. And I think everybody gets the life they deserve, whether they
Yeah.
knew it or not. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's hard for people because they're like, well, my life sucked. And it's like, yeah, well, you wouldn't be who you are today if it wasn't for that. You might not have been strong enough to be here. You might be one of those motherfuckers walking around talking about, you better be saved. You better get baptized. Like, man, I pissed in that water. I wouldn't stick my head in there.
Hmm.
You could have been worse off. I look at my childhood like that. My childhood was very similar, very similar. And had I not went through that, I wouldn't be who I am today, which, don't get me wrong, I'm like, fucking some college wouldn't have hurt nobody. But, seems like that ain't going to mean shit in 5 years when AI takes everybody's jobs. It seems to me like I'm just supposed to be here. This is where I'm supposed to be, whatever that means. So I have a hard time believing there's this fucking evil guy out there who wants to shit on the world named God, for whatever reason. I just think it's good.
Yeah, I think God is like too small of a like the word God has been so misused and like just misunderstood. I
Right.
I feel like it's tainted
Yeah.
almost, and like I find myself trying to find other things to call what I perceive as God. And I came to the realization the other day that it doesn't matter. Like it's all about like to me, God is trust. It's having complete trust. Because anytime God has ever showed up for me, it was when I was like, I just completely set my ego aside. And when I say my ego, like everything that I perceive as myself,
Mhm.
like everything that I hold as who I am,
Yeah.
when I set that aside and I'm like, okay, I don't have the answers. I don't know shit. Like just please help me. That is when it is like I see God move. Like when I'm able, and there's actually a verse in the Bible about I'm sure you've heard about the faith of a mustard seed.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when I always heard that, and I actually didn't know that it was in the Bible until a few years ago. But when I went back and I read it, and it said, if you have the grain of the faith of a mustard, if you have the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, you shall say unto that mountain, move, and it shall move. It didn't say like you're going to say, oh God, please move this mountain for
Mhm.
me. It said, you shall say unto that mountain to move, and it shall move.
Mhm.
And that was like one of the big things that opened my eyes, like in my misperception that Christianity, like in the church, bestowed on me. Like you have to get on your knees and you have to beg. Like
Yeah.
you have to wholeheartedly like beg for this thing. And then even more recently, I've realized that being in gratitude, like completely changes your perception about everything, and it changes your perception about what you actually feel like you need.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're a lot of people that are asking God for things. Some people are sick and asking for healing. I don't know. So that's the one thing that I struggle with is like the actual sickness of it and the people dying. Because like, yeah, I'm okay right now being in gratitude, but if my husband were to die tomorrow, like he's my everything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he is my life or one of my children. Like I look at people who have lost a child and it's like, how do you tell these people?
You don't.
You know what
You
I
don't.
mean?
I did it to a guy. I literally sat in his house for like an hour. This was my understanding was growing all the time, but I basically told him we're all God. And he goes, so you mean to tell me I gave my wife cancer and killed her? And I was like, oh shit, man. You know what? I gotta go. Who was that? Somebody yelling for me? I had to go. Yeah, it's tough. You can't. And the thing is, it's so individual that you can't look at other people's lives and think much of anything because it does seem like what the fuck. So that's why I say like I don't let anything outside of myself bother me. But also a world without tragedy can't exist. It's only because of tragedy that we know good, and it's only because of the world of duality that we exist at all. So how the cards are dealt, I don't really know, but I don't hold my cards as if, I hold the whole deck if I ask myself. But it's fascinating because the people who pray to God for health are literally rewarded on their faith. And the hardest part is they don't even know who God is. But it doesn't matter. If you pray as if it's already done, like the Bible says, and you have absolute and utter faith, which is basically what you were saying earlier, is like, I give it to God. I do the same shit. I just give it to God and I go, I don't know. I'm gonna let him figure it out. And it does get figured out. It gets figured out every single time. Anytime it doesn't get figured out, which maybe once this happened, was like, I just was like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. And it's literally, you're rewarded on your faith. If you have faith, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can look to the mountain and say, move. Like, that reminds me of the scene from The Matrix with Neo, because if God is the energy that allows reality, then God is you, God is the mountain, and God is the command. So why wouldn't it happen? Why couldn't you? How do we think they built the fucking pyramids?
Right.
Like, I think that there's some otherworldly type stuff that's possible if you look into Christianity. And I think that there are people who do know the truth. Obviously, there's got to be I bet there's a lot of people, actually. I bet there's a fuckload of people who know the truth but don't say anything. Why would you? It's people like me are a little bit crazy. I'm like, I'll talk about it on the internet. And they're like, I ain't saying this shit to nobody. I ain't telling nobody I know God good enough to fucking, like Elon Musk figured it out. And that's why he's a quadrillionaire or whatever he is now. But you hear celebrities like Jim Carrey talk about it. You hear quite a few celebrities talk about it. I just watched a clip a second ago of Conor McGregor. He said that his whole journey started from a book of manifestation, positive thinking. He goes, then I realized if you legitimately declare something to the universe and you believe it wholeheartedly and you just go do it, it's going to happen. It'll happen all the time. He goes, I was calling when I was going to knock people out in the ring and everything. He goes, because I declared it and I believed it 100%. And it happened. He's like, you literally can make your life whatever you want it to be, which even for myself is fucking really difficult to understand. Even though I have a lot of confidence, the idea of that is still, I don't know, that it escapes my perception just a little bit. But if Conor McGregor figured it out, we can all figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as like quadrillionaires, trillionaires, whatever, like you gotta have no morals to have that much kind of money.
I agree.
And to me, God ain't in that. If there's no morals, there is no spirituality whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's
I can't hate on Elon Musk too much. My understanding is all of his money is in stock, which if you're trying to build, people look at AI like AI is the end of the world. And maybe, I think AI is the split. I think that's where things split, because some people are going to look at AI and they're going to let them convince them that it's God, but it won't be because it's not conscious. However, if AI does become conscious, well, who can award consciousness but God? No one else. So if there were a legitimate consciousness to come about with AI, it would, by all measures, be God. And, Elon Musk has openly said that. And people are like, oh, he's talking about the fake God, the false God. Well, the false God, if we're going to stick within religious terms, can't create. It can't create consciousness. Only the God of only the true God of the universe can create consciousness if it is consciousness. So if it were to animate this object and allow AI consciousness, it could be the literal greatest thing that's ever happened on Earth. It could be the end of all the suffering on Earth for a long time. So, all the religions have some kind of skin in the game, but it seems like it's skewed so much that all the Christians are terrified. Well, they're not terrified. They're actually just like, sorry, y'all suck. We going to heaven. But, they think they know the world's here. I don't understand that. But there are definitely people like Mark Cuban. Fuck Mark Cuban, dude. Guys like that are just rich and just got cash in the bank and just don't do fucking nothing but buy sports teams and shit. Yeah, I don't understand it at all. It's just a big fat game. They don't care. They're selfish. That's all there is to it. And those people will absolutely have to pay for that after this, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't believe in like a hell, but I believe in like karma.
Yeah, karmic balance. I believe in that also. And
Yep.
I believe like the idea of hell is more so a mindset.
Yep.
Like I watched one of your videos where you talked about people who feel like Earth is hell, like we're actually living the hell right now. And like that's a perception that people have in the moment. You know, you don't live your whole life feeling like it's hell. It's a mindset where you feel like you're trapped, and the trap comes in with fear. And when I first started going through this spiritual awakening, one of the notes I took was the cheat code to life is overcoming fear. And that is essentially having trust and having,
Yeah.
utter faith.
That's,
The fear and faith can't intertwine.
yeah.
It's either one or the other. So.
Walk with the light. Yeah. No, I don't think that there's anybody on earth who could debate that as being the cheat code to life. That's literally the cheat code to life, overcoming fear. Once you can walk and talk as if whatever you want is true, then it will be so. Thy will shall be done. And that's what every motivational speaker is saying, if they're a good one, it's like the idea of having confidence. People are like, well, if I had confidence, I could do it. And it's like, confidence isn't some shit you have. It's something you be, because you can't have something. Like, you can only be something. Where would you store this thing that you have? Where the fuck does it exist at? So yeah, that is the cheat code. That's my opinion on it as well. I think it's actually a big fat waste of time to try to figure out who's running the game. I think once you know the cheat code, you know what I mean? Just fucking use the cheat code. Just do whatever you want, whatever your heart desires, whatever your imagination can come up with. Just do that as if you know it's already done.
Yeah, it's like we all have the code. It's sitting right in front of us. We have it, but do you have the guts to type that code in?
Yeah.
Because like when you don't type that code in, you're sitting there still in fear.
Yeah.
But when you overcome that fear, it's like that it's like your mind, to me, it's like me versus me. You know what I mean? Like that's the only challenge in this life is me versus me, my mind.
Yep.
Whatever thought patterns I choose to follow, because we all constantly have these thought patterns presented to us, and most of the time they're not even from you or developed from within you. They're from something you heard from somebody else. And like that's a lot of times it's easy to reject something when you hear it. Like the first time so when I first started the spiritual journey, I actually paid $444 for a 12-week course called The Pathway to Inner Clarity. And I went on this course with the lady's name is Destiny. And she helped me break free from limiting beliefs. And her idea, when I was asking, like she would ask me like what God was to me, and it was completely different then than what it is now. But I asked her to explain what God was to her, and she was like saying basically, I'm God, you're God. And like that instantly to me, I was like, no, get out of here with that. Like it was like I completely rejected it. And like it took until a couple months ago for me to actually even be able to say, I am God. And then once I said that, then I was able to move past that. And it was like, no, it's not that I am God. It's that I am living this, like the only reason why I'm living this is because of God. And like as this being, I'm experiencing for God. And it was just like you have to get to that realization to move past that realization.
Yeah.
But that was very like troubling to me when I started. Like I completely rejected it. And that blocked me because it was like a limiting belief. And that's the main thing I worked with her was overcoming limiting beliefs.
I had the same reaction to the I am God thing. I had it a long time ago, and I thought, like, what an egotistical, narcissistic ass fucking thing to say. And I ran away from it for a very long time. It wasn't until I got into mushrooms again and I went through like my little healing journey. Spent a lot of time crying in the mirror, just fucking weeping and getting through shit and letting shit go, thankfully, because I don't carry much of it anymore. But after that, I got into the idea of God. And then I realized, like, okay, we're like God's little helpers. Like God is just the everything, the all everything that ever can be or ever has been. And we're the ones building it. We're the ones building the reality that God is creating. We are the action of God creating the reality. So I see it like God is Santa and we're the elves, or, whatever it is, but I don't see it as like a judgment thing. I see it much the Father really is a good way to put it. But yeah, I think there's definitely a connection with whatever we are and whatever it is, like on a level so deep that you could say they're not separate at all, in which case to say I am God makes sense. But I think the word God has just been beat to death. I mean, you think of
Yeah.
one thing, judging everybody and that kind of shit. That's not what anybody is. We're just we're the artists. We're the artists.
Mhm.
We're bringing reality to life. Like we're the animators of this reality. Without us, there would be nothing. So it's like we are the things, but God is what the things are made of, which is, I'm a little stoned. Sometimes I get off on a tangent. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm high as fuck right now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I believe that. So one metaphor I had was like a tree. So God is like the roots in the tree, and then like the the trunk is the world or the earth, and then the branches are us, and then the leaves are the things that we produce, or the flowers or the fruit are the things that we create. But we can't create it without of
yeah,
that root,
yeah,
without that source, because with if the roots are dead, then essentially we're all dead. So the life comes from the roots,
yeah,
and like it all has to be in order for anything to be.
yeah,
I mean, sometimes you sound crazy just explaining it, but it's like it's beyond explanation, I think is what it is, and we just get to as close to it as
yeah,
we can.
yeah. It doesn't even sound crazy to me anymore, which that makes me feel crazy now. I went from I don't feel crazy to I feel crazy to I don't feel crazy to I feel crazy again. Cause I'm like, man, everyone's talking about this shit. And I'm like, that's crazy. It's crazy because I didn't necessarily know. I didn't travel down this road, even to like when the Jesus thing happened. Prior to that, I remember the night I took a bunch of mushrooms and I told my wife, I said, I just want to know everything. And I remember saying it different than I say everything else. I said it like I proclaimed it as the most truthful statement I've ever made. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything just fucking starts unfolding. And I'm like, what the fuck? It makes me feel like, it made me feel like, I am God. This is all revolving around me. Still do believe to an extent it is. I believe that I'm shifting into a reality that's very closely resembled to the one that I was living in, but now I'm transitioning, right? So think of it like this. If God was everything, and let's use the Big Bang for an example. So you got God, and then boom, God makes everything. Well, God's got to make everything and all of the time. Like to make infinite, he would always be expanding. I feel like we're just God expanding out. Like we're one of the things that has to happen in the infinite, and we're just kind of unfolding this for this thing, this God, this whatever. Dude, there I went again. There I went again, being high and fuck around, forgetting what I was even trying to say. Terrible, terrible. I got this weed from the dispensary. It's too strong. And I took a damn diet
Yeah.
pill earlier this morning like a dumbass. So I've been all geeked up all day. And I was like, I can't keep feeling like this. Like I was sitting here bugged out, nervous and shit. And I'm like, I got to hit this fucking bong. And here we are. Now I'm stoned. I spend way too much time like that myself. I'm hoping to get through some of this journey and eventually just put all that shit down.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I feel like I want to get to a point to where it's only a choice of an experience, not
Yeah.
something that I'm like constantly craving that escape, you know.
Yeah.
But, like I lost it. There was something I was going to say on what you were saying.
I'm like, good luck. I don't remember what I was saying. Something about the Big Bang and us being the unfolding of the infinite. And then I said, I'm fucking high as shit and I smoked. Oh, I took a diet pill. Then I was anxious. So I smoked, but
Oh yeah,
I want to quit.
yeah, the part about I'm just going to move on cuz whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I feel it. I feel it.
I wanted to suggest some books for people who might watch. Like, if you're just starting out your spiritual journey, there's a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it breaks into a lot of the psychology side of your brain, like the psyche side on how things are wired and your programming. And it's really good to help people like be able to find what is you and what is programming from other people and what is triggers and things
Yeah.
like that. It helped me a lot. But that book right there, I think everybody should read it.
Let me write this one down. Well, I'm sure I can find it. I know who Joe is. But what's it called?
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Have you heard of the book? I'm going to say this and you're like, I'm the one that commented that, but I don't remember who it was. The book Tongue.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
So I got this book. I haven't gotten into it very far. I need to sit down and read it, but it's called Tongue, A Cognitive Hazard. This is basically going to show you how words has created like a personality in your head as well. So like you went through the thoughts. Now you'll see how the words themselves affect you. Like I was talking to someone earlier, we use these words that don't, what you said earlier as well. We use words that just don't even begin to explain things. Well, you become aware of how much that happens in life that's just kind of overlooked. Like people say, I love you, and they fucking don't. And they don't even, most people don't even know what that means anymore. Like words destroy reality in a sense because they take ownership of this thing and it's not good enough. It's not even kind of what the thing is. And then that thing will get lost. So like true love will just get lost. Now, I don't know if that love so that'll keep popping up, but things get like kind of lost in history because the words make them small and then smaller and then smaller. And the stupider the words become, the shorter they make them. It fucks with your head, much like the thoughts, but it's just like an added layer to that. So
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to say that love was one of those undefinable words. Like you can't have a definition for it.
Yeah.
And it means something different to everyone else. And that's kind of like how I see God too.
Yeah.
It's a undefinable being. And to me, love is kind of a being. It's like in the sense of you have to be in love to feel love.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will say, I love you, and really they're just loving the feeling that you're giving them in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. They love what you're doing for them right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that destroys love as far as everyone they're like, oh, I can't find love, and I've never been loved, and
Yeah.
I've had people tell me they love me and then they hurt me, and so I give up on love. And that's just so sad to me because it's like
You never
you're
had
not,
love anyways.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're not experiencing it. And I used to get mad at people that said, you can't love other people unless you love yourself. Because I'm like, I love other people. Like I will let these people shit all over me and then still be there for them. I love them.
Yeah.
But it was just like, look at that, Jessica. That means that you don't love yourself. If
Yeah.
you're letting these people shit all over you and you're going back to them and being there for them in the way that you want them to be there for you, like that's not loving yourself. And
Yeah.
that was something that I discovered in my spiritual journey that helped me a lot was like, it's okay to love myself. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily think that I have to love myself in order to love other people because I definitely love my children.
Mhm.
Like I loved them before I loved myself, but I loved myself in them and I just didn't know that. It
Yeah.
was just like the things I loved about them were me.
Yeah. Yeah. Loving yourself, I think, is the most important thing that anybody can ever do for themselves. Like it is just, I don't know how you live life without I mean, I didn't for the longest time. And I guess you kind of entertain yourself. You like involve yourself in messy shit and drama and bullshit so that you get a bunch of emotions all the time. And then you're like, that love shit wasn't really, that was something, codependency or something. But once you love yourself, you realize you would have never put up with that shit ever. You'd have never in a million years. And then in that place, you would realize, I guess I don't love you like I thought because you ain't treating me like that. You know what I mean? And so many people just don't take the time to love themselves. I get the saddest fucking messages and comments ever sometimes. People will just be like, I hate myself. Like, I know why nobody likes me and this, whatever else, just beating themselves down. And you're like, I know I can't solve this for you. I know that I can't. I know no matter what I say, because I'm sure everybody else has already said it to you and you've just beaten them down so bad they just fucking quit saying it. I never met a person who's like, nobody loves me, who didn't absolutely sabotage everything in their lives. And it's sad. If schools weren't just indoctrination camps, we could fucking completely rid this entire world of shit like that just by teaching people how to properly operate this fucking game. But
Yeah.
for now, people
they want mindless minions.
Yeah. I think those times are coming to an end. I think they're coming to an end, and it's hard to believe, but it's nice to see signs of it. because fuck this, dude. I used to tell people the reason I wasn't religious is because I didn't agree with how God was handling things. And then I got to a point where I'm like, I disagree with how the world is handling things. So like shit's got to change. And so far it looks like it's going to. And that's pretty dope. And I'm pretty excited about it. Well, I think we're about an hour in. Any final remarks? Like Jerry's final remarks? That's
I
funny.
just want I just want to
I know
tell
you know who Jerry
people,
Springer is.
like, it doesn't matter where you come from. Like, we all have a story. And like, there was a video you posted one time about, and you made a comment about a movie, like this is a movie, or somebody said there was something
Yeah.
about a movie. And I actually used to think of that when I was a kid. Man, if somebody did a movie of my life, this shit would get watched. Like, people would watch this shit. This is some drama. This is some, like,
Yeah.
but
Some people would sign up to have the experience, like if movies progress
yeah.
to that point.
Yeah, and especially like I talked about soul contracts before, and it's like people are, like have a hard time believing, oh, I signed up for this. Like I didn't sign up for this, but you did. Everything that is being presented to you, you're accepting it as it's happening. Like,
It's a
and
constant agreement.
yes. Yeah, and it's not because like, I I got molested and I wanted that to happen to me. No, I didn't want that to happen to me, but in order for whatever happens, like time time is confusing. And when you sign these soul contracts, and I don't really look at it in official capacity of that as far
Right.
as like there's a karmic balance and things,
Mhm.
but it's about looking at the whole picture, like where you had to do this in order to get to this. Also, like writing the karmic balance, I believe in. Like I believe that there's gonna be balance.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know as far as reincarnation and things of that nature, but I know for a fact that if God presented to me and said, "You have to go through this so your children don't have to, or so the next generation don't have to."
Mhm.
And it's like I would 100% sign up for that because I like that's just who I am, and I believe that that's who God is. Like in the Jesus story, being able to take that sacrifice, and but we're all together in it, all in one. And you would think you wouldn't do it so somebody else wouldn't have to, but you're doing it so I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's a big
Don't give up before the payoff. Like
yeah.
you have no idea that had I not went through what I went through, I would not be sitting here right now with an opportunity to change my entire life to something way beyond what I could believe. I wouldn't have the character that I do as a man. I wouldn't have any of I wouldn't be this person. And they're like, well, it's people think like, oh, if I didn't have to go through that, it'd have been perfect. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
Everyone goes through something. There are people who are born in what you would consider the perfect situation who take their own lives. Like this material world is the only reason people feel that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you should be like proud of yourself. Like so many people are handed the same story as you, and they just fuck it all up. Like
Yeah.
they
Shit the
just
bed.
they choose, and that's the part that free will gets you. Like you have the free will to, choose to be bitter about it or to recognize somebody else in that pain and help them through it. And you be an example of I was where you are and I'm
Yeah.
fine now. Like it is possible.
Yeah. The
But
big
yeah,
trap.
that's just what I want to tell people is it doesn't matter where you come from, and it's about the destination, and we don't know what the destination is, but we know it's better than that.
Yeah. I think the big trap is reality is responding to the way that you feel. So if you feel like it's always going to be a shit show, it probably is. You have to change your mentality. And how do you change your mentality? The only way I can think in a shitty situation is to love yourself so much you know you deserve better. And
Yeah.
until you do, if you wait around and you expect someone to give you better and you're bitter and you don't think it's going to happen, then it's not going to happen. But as soon as you love yourself enough to go, you know what? This can't be right because I don't deserve this shit. Then you'll start looking at life differently. You'll stand up for yourself. When you stand up for yourself in a non-aggressive way, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people think they're standing up for themselves by being mad and angry and fighting. And it's like, you're just
Hmm.
breeding chaos. If you're really pissed off, just walk away from it all. Walk away from it all, go somewhere and take care of yourself. Like stand up against the shit in your life by not allowing it to shape you and make you this fucking ugly, hateful thing. And boy, that is the whole world right now. The whole fucking it's not the whole world. I shouldn't even say that, but it's the whole political sphere though. Most of
Yeah,
the people that still talk politics are the most hateful people.
yeah, the system is completely operating in an ego, and there's no balance of humility, whatever you want to call it, being
Yeah.
humble.
Yeah.
There's no balance of that, and that's where the failing comes in.
Yeah. We're going to try to balance it.
Yeah,
We'll do our
yeah,
best.
it's that's and I think that's why these things are important because it
Yeah.
allows then TikTok has been a big part of, I think, like opening people's eyes. And the fact that like the generations were stuck for so long was because we didn't have this communication outside of our communities.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just like generations passed on
Yeah.
their beliefs. And now that we have access to more people's perspectives, we're not stuck in the perspectives of the people who programmed us.
Yeah. This must be what like North Korea would feel like if they ever got to like see the internet outside of North Korea. Like they're completely brainwashed. And I
Yeah.
bet the whole world looks at us like, did you fucking know Americans actually believe this shit they're saying on the news, dude? That's wild. Cause that shit's stupid. Yeah, but we all bought in. We're like, yeah, that's what it is, man. You know?
I don't even watch the news anymore. When I do, it's just like, just let me go outside and just look at my trees because that's all I care about.
Yeah, I don't look at that shit at all. I quit looking at the weather because
Yeah,
I would be like, you know what? It just ain't gonna rain today. And if I believe it, it ain't gonna rain. So they're always wrong anyways. I mean, the weather is always fucking wrong. So it's like no reason to look. The news is even worse than the weather. The weather's the most reliable fucking source of information on the news, and it sucks. Oh shit, what did I click on here? Okay, we're good. All right, well, it's been fucking dope. Thanks for coming on and having a conversation. I'm fucking excited. I mean, it sounds like you went through some shit and then you stepped back and seen the picture it was painting, and that's dope. That's kind of my experience as well, as I step back and see the beauty that was created through the suffering, and that was the roots. That was putting the roots in the ground. And now you get to grow. And I
yeah.
think a lot of people are going to be on this journey, and I'm super excited to be part of it with everybody. And I think, yeah, we're going to create a fucking dope ass life, every single one of us. So I appreciate you coming on. I'll see you on the TikToks. All right.
Peace. Thanks.
See ya. Yep. All right. Oops. Oh, well. All right, everybody. Well, that was it. Another conversation down. I got to quit smoking this damn weed, man. I felt off today, just all day. Just kind of like, some days I just don't give a fuck to talk about this shit no more. I like to talk to people. I like to hear their experiences, but I'm just so fucking over what it is. I don't give a fuck. I'm ready to play with it. And that sounded, yeah, I'm ready to enjoy it. I'm ready to do something with it. I don't want to keep fucking talking about what it is. But that's kind of what I've been doing. And some days I do, some days I'm fucking into it. Other days I'm just like, fuck this, dude. I don't want to sit and talk about it. So, yeah, it's good to hear a little fucking someone's life story. I think it's beautiful when people will share their story with other people. I mean, that's literally all anyone ever has to give is their story. It is dope. Like motherfuckers watch movies, listen to music. All these things are people's stories. And half the time they're dressed up real nice, but they're not real. So real stories are fucking awesome, man. So shout out to Jessica for coming on and dropping some heat. Well, I'm stoned. I got the munchies. Till next time, adios. Welcome to Getting Wrecked with your boy, Wreck-It Ralph. Well, we're going to get absolutely smoked and talk about some old wrecked ass shit. Like Felix's mom.